As you know, I'm the Wisconsin solar guy, or maybe you don't know that, but my job is to consult people on solar power, to educate them on how it works in Wisconsin so you can make a decision to know if it's right for you, because it's not right on every home. So I've prepared a presentation for you. It was a live webinar I did on Facebook the other night where I talk about the 5 questions you need to ask to know if solar is right for you. The problem is everybody asks the wrong questions. And so I go over the 5 questions people are asking and why they're the wrong questions and tell you the right 5 questions you should ask. So I'm going to play that presentation for you right now. But before I do, I want to just invite you. Every house is different. I want to invite you to get a free solar analysis done. I do these free of charge. I prefer to go over them with you in person, but if that does not work or you're not comfortable with that, I can go over them with you over the phone and online. So please click the button below and sign up for a free solar analysis. All right, it will take you to my calendar. You schedule a time slot that works for you. All it is it's a 5-minute conversation on the phone to see if solar even makes sense, if it might make sense, or if you might qualify for it, because about 1 in 5 homes qualify for it. Then I will do an actual design and an analysis for your home. But first, sign up for this pre-screening, for lack of a better word, by clicking the button below, and let's do an analysis. Let's talk on the phone and see if solar makes sense for your home. Thank you. Okay, looks like we're live. Sorry for the delay. I was having technical difficulties with my camera. My camera, I don't know if it's going out on me or what, but some days it is so dark and looks reddish. And the only way I know how to fix it is to restart my computer. So I restarted my computer, and then after I restarted my computer, it took a minute to reboot Zoom meeting. And so here we are. So I apologize for the delay, but I'm Kurt. I'm the Wisconsin solar guy. I am also a solar energy consultant, which basically is a glorified way of saying that I knock on people's doors and talk to them about solar power. And so if I ever knock on your door, please be nice to me. I'm just there to educate you about how solar power works and let you determine if it makes sense for your house or not. And in doing so, in going door to door, I have realized that the biggest fear people have of solar is that they don't want to get ripped off. They don't want to buy something expensive and have it not work for them. And so when I offer to do a free consultation, their concern, the biggest hurdle I have to overcome, is their concern is that I'm going to be this high pressure Kirby vacuum salesman and try to twist their arm into doing something they don't want to do, and nobody likes to be sold. And so for that reason, I've started doing these videos on my Facebook page. I'll do these from time to time, hopefully at least once a week as we get a bigger audience, where I'll just talk about and educate about how solar works and how you can determine if it's right for you and different things you need to know so that you can look at it on your own terms without feeling like you have a high pressure salesman pushing you into something. This is just a way for you to get educated and understand how it works. So with that said, the topic for tonight's meeting is really simple. It is 5 questions that you need to ask about solar before going solar. And you may never go solar, because when you ask these 5 questions, you might determine to never go solar, and that's fine. But you also might determine that you should have gone solar 10 years ago. And so it's important to ask these 5 questions so you're well educated and so that you understand how it works and so you can determine if it makes sense for your house. So let's jump right into these 5 questions, because everybody always asks the wrong questions. So I'm going to jump right into this, and this is going to be weird for a second. Okay, I'm going to jump right into this and show you guys how this works. Show you these 5 questions, the wrong questions that everybody asks, and I'm going to show you the 5 questions that you should be asking to really know if solar makes sense for your home. And I need to start the slideshow so it's full screen. Okay, this should be full screen. Give me just 1 second to check Facebook on my phone to make sure that Zoom meeting is functioning how it's supposed to be functioning. Give me just 1 second. Again, if you haven't liked the Wisconsin Solar Guys page while I'm checking this, please like it. Okay, cool. It's full screen. You guys are seeing what I'm seeing. That's all I needed to know. Okay, so the 5 questions to ask about solar. First off, who's this presentation for? If you're stumbling upon this, these slides are not fancy. They're just words. Sorry, I didn't make them all cute, but I hope they get the point across. Okay, so here's who should listen to this presentation. First off, you need to be a homeowner. I don't say that on here. If you're not a homeowner, then solar is not an option at this time. I still invite you to get educated because someday you will own a home, and solar might be a great option for you when you do. So if you've ever thought or said any of the following things, then this presentation is for you. If you've ever thought or wondered or actually said solar would be cool, but it's too expensive, then you need to listen to this presentation. If you've ever said, I can't afford solar, then you need to listen to this presentation, because most people actually can afford solar once they understand how it works. All right. If you've ever said, you know what, I'm all about clean energy, I want to stop and fight global warming, I'm all about protecting the earth, but I can't go solar because insert lame excuse. Funny story about this. I was knocking doors and presenting solar in Bayview. And Bayview, for those of you that are familiar with the Milwaukee area, know that Bayview has a lot of people that claim to be green, claim to be pro clean and renewable energy. And I knocked on this man's door and talked to him about solar, and he had stickers all over his door about renewable energy, this, and fight global warming, and all these environmental friendly stickers all over his door. And he says to me, as I try to set an appointment to give him a free solar energy consultant, this man says to me, you know what, I'm a solar power sympathizer, but I'm not going to go solar because I can't afford it. I have too many things. And he had a list of lame excuses why he couldn't go solar. And I simply said to him, I said, if you could go solar for the same price you spend per month on regular power, on coal, dirty coal power, if you could go solar for the same price per month that you spend on regular power, not in addition to, I don't mean if you pay $100 for power, pay another $100 for solar. No, I mean, replace the $100 you're spending on dirty energy and replace it with clean energy for the exact same price. Would you do that? And he said, well, yeah, if it doesn't cost me any more than I spend now. And I said, cool, let me see your power bill. I'll see what I can do. I took his power bill and I figured it out. And he had told me he'd meet with me and sit down with me if I could do this. I contacted him again. I was able to get within $4, okay? I was able to get him solar for $4 more per month than he spends right now. This is a man who claims to be a solar sympathizer, were his words. I told him I could get him solar for $4 more than he's spending right now, the way we finance through my company. Should he find a different financing option, he would probably be saving money. And his first response was to not answer me for like 2 months. Finally, after I bugged him a little bit, he finally sent me an email and goes, please stop contacting me. I'm not going to go solar. So the question I ask you, if you claim to be a clean energy person, is are you like this man in Bayview? Do you just verbally claim to be about clean energy? Or are you really willing to invest in your home and do something that makes a difference? Because solar is a way to do that. And if your home is good for solar, it's a way to do it for the same price you spend now, okay? And that's what this man didn't realize. So as we talk about this, I hope that you guys will see that as an opportunity and understand better that solar really does make sense, especially if you're really about clean energy. Now, if you're full of crap and you just say that to look cool politically and to look awesome on Facebook, then solar's not for you and I'm never gonna earn your business. But if you really genuinely care about the environment, then stop making excuses, get educated. Let me back up. Get educated about what solar can do for you and how much it actually costs. And that's the point of this presentation today, so keep listening. And then go from there and make a decision if it makes sense financially. It always makes sense in the environment. You decide if it makes sense financially, but at least get educated on all the details of how it works specifically for your house. Okay, that's what we're going to go into today, these 5 questions to help you get a better understanding. Also, at the end of this presentation, as I promised, I'm going to give you I'm going to show you how to get a free energy savings packet that's worth $40, okay? LED light bulbs and different items that will lower your power bill by simply making your house use less power. Again, give me just 1 second, check on my presentation. I want to make sure we're still going. I believe we are. Yep, we are still going. Okay. So, keep going. Other people that this presentation is for. If you've ever wondered, I wonder what it would cost to go solar, then this is for you, although we won't get into price details because those vary from house to house. If you've ever thought or said solar, nice grammar, Kurt. You can tell I put the slide together fast. If you've ever said, I don't want to look into solar, I don't even want to look into it because I don't plan on living here for very long, then this presentation is for you because you're asking the wrong question to understand if solar is right for your house. And if you ever thought to yourself or even said, solar doesn't work in Wisconsin, it's a terrible state for solar, it's the worst state for solar, I'm not going to do solar here, then this presentation is for you because if you start asking the right questions, you might just reconsider your opinion on solar in Wisconsin. All right, so that's who it's for. Let's dive right into this presentation. All right, so the 5 questions that everybody asks me. I get asked these questions over and over when I'm doing presentations, one-on-one consultations, and even just when I meet someone for the first time on their doorstep, I get asked the following questions. And these are the wrong questions to ask. So you need to modify these questions. Don't ask them the way they are here, or else you're never going to go solar and you're never going to make a truly educated decision on whether solar makes sense on your house. All right, so here's the 5 questions everybody always asks. The biggest one is the one at the top here. Everybody always asks me, does solar even work in Wisconsin? Or they don't necessarily ask it in the form of a question. If they're genuinely interested, they will. But they usually say, it doesn't work here. It's too cloudy. It's too rainy. Well, today was super rainy and cloudy. Tomorrow's going to be super rainy and cloudy. But solar still does work in Wisconsin. And I'll explain how you need to ask that question to better understand it, because that is the wrong question. Next, this is the next biggest question I get asked is, how much does solar cost? How much does solar cost? And that, again, is the wrong question. I'll give you the right question to ask. I also get asked, how long does it take to get my money back? When's my payback? Okay, we're going to talk about why that's the wrong question and what question you actually should ask. And then these aren't really questions, but excuses that I often hear that make the top 5 list. And it's, I don't plan on living here long, therefore I can't go solar. That, again, is the wrong question and a terrible excuse not to go solar. And then I also hear all the time, I'm retired or I'm about to retire, so I'm on a fixed income and I can't go solar. Again, wrong excuse, wrong reasoning, wrong question, if you want to call it a question. Okay, so let's attack each of these 5 questions and talk about what you really should be asking, what you really should be considering in trying to determine if solar makes sense for your house. All right, and feel free to comment any questions you have. I am following the Facebook feed here, so post any questions, even if you're watching this not live, if you're watching this the replay, then you can also post your questions and I respond super quickly. All right, the first question, does solar even work in Wisconsin? That is a terrible question. Obviously solar works or you wouldn't see any of it, okay? You're lying to yourself if you've never seen solar in Wisconsin, because every neighborhood that I've been in has at least 1 or 2 solar powered houses, all right? So obviously solar works. You wouldn't see it. I live in Racine County. The entire city office buildings are powered by solar power in Racine. Obviously it works or people wouldn't have done it, okay? So the question, the better question is, how does solar work in Wisconsin? And again, a typo on my thing. How does solar work on my home is what that should read. Should read, how does solar work on my home in Wisconsin? Okay, so forgive me for the rushed slides, but I had a lot of work to do today and I didn't catch that. I forgot to insert that wording. It should read, how does solar power work on my home in Wisconsin? Because that's what matters. Solar might not work on your home and it might work perfectly on your neighbor's home, or vice versa. Your neighbor might have looked into solar. He might have gotten a quote. He or she might have looked into it in detail and decided it did not work for them. That doesn't mean it doesn't work on your home. The only way to know that is to do a one-on-one consultation with me and determine if it makes sense on your home. Okay, let me give you a couple facts about solar power though in Wisconsin and how well it actually does work. New York has less sun hours than Wisconsin. Let me repeat that. New York has less sun hours than Wisconsin, and New York it's one of the largest solar states, one of the top 5, I believe, solar states in the country, meaning it has millions of residential solar homeowners and business solar owners, okay? And it does that with less sun hours than we have here in Wisconsin. So the better question to ask is, how does solar power work on my home in Wisconsin? All right, seek to understand how solar works specifically in general, and then seek to understand how solar works specifically on your home, and then you'll be able to make a truly educated decision, and you won't be like my buddy in Bayview that just decided, you know what, I can't afford it, even though I put stickers all over my house about how great clean energy is, but heaven forbid I sit down with you and look at it in detail, okay? So don't be that guy. Get educated. All right, how much does solar cost? This is the wrong question. Because if you're gonna ask how much does solar cost, then you've gotta ask, how much does dirty coal power that I've been buying for my entire life, how much does that cost? And how much is that gonna cost me next year? And how much is that gonna cost me 2 years from now? Go read the article in the Milwaukee Sentinel about what's probably gonna happen 2 years from now with our We Energy rates, okay? So when you ask how much does solar cost, it makes sense to ask that question at first. And I will tell you how much solar costs when we do a one-on-one consultation, but the better question is, how much does solar cost compared to the dirty energy that I buy now and that I intend to buy until the day I die? All right, we'll be able to project for you in a one-on-one consultation how much money you're going to spend in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years if you stay in your home and don't change your habits. Let me repeat that. We'll be able to show you in a consultation pretty accurately how much money you're going to spend on power at 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years if you don't change your habits and stay in your home. All right? So the average homeowner will spend $65,000 in the next 20 years on power in Wisconsin. All right? I'm basing that number not off some scientific study. I'm basing that number off of all the people I sit down and do one-on-one consultations and do a precise calculation specific to their power usage and their power rates, all right? So it's not a made-up number. It's not from some survey. It's from my experience of being in hundreds of homes, taking how much power they use, calculating how much they're gonna spend over 20, 30 years, all right? And the average home of the ones I've been in spends about $65,000 in the next 20 years by staying with coal power. So once you realize that I'm going to spend 65 grand on power in the next month, not next month, if it was the next month, I'd have sold a lot more solar. I'm going to spend 65 grand on power in the next 20 years. Maybe I should see if there's a more cost-effective way to do that. Then solar begins to maybe make sense for your house. It might not, it still might not make sense for your house, but that's what we have to look at in a one-on-one consultation. So just a little example, if you could spend $10,000 on solar to save $65,000, would you do it? Okay, you would net 55 grand if that was the equation, right? Typically, it's not quite that cut and dry. It's not quite that good on most homes. But a common solar scenario is the solar system costs 10 grand. It lowers the $65,000 bill you have with We Energies to $20,000, saving the customer $35,000. All right. So basically, a customer invests $10,000 into solar. They save $45,000. In other words, they spend $45,000 less with the power company over the next 20 years, saving them a total of $35,000. If that's the case, and that's the case in a lot of homes I go into, similar to those numbers. A lot of homes I go into, because I knock on doors that I already know are good for solar. I wouldn't knock on their doors. But a lot of the homes I go into, their numbers are similar to this. They can invest $10,000, they can save $45,000, making their total savings $35,000. Well, why would you not do that? Well, maybe you don't have $10,000. That's beyond the scope of this this presentation, but we can talk about how you can purchase solar in a one-on-one consultation, because there's ways to do it without having the $10,000. There's ways to do it with zero out-of-pocket dollars. Okay. All right. So the next question that we get a lot is, when is my payback? What people are trying to say with this is, what's my return on investment? They're trying to say, when will I make my money back? If I put $10,000 into solar, when will I make my money back? That's what they're trying to say. And again, it's the wrong question to ask. When you put the new kitchen in your home, when you put $20,000 into the new kitchen, did you ask, when's my payback? When do I get my $20,000 back? When you put a $15,000 roof on your house, did you say, when's my payback? When do I get my $15,000 back? No, you didn't say that. Well, solar is an investment in your home, and you need to ask this question instead. At what point will I pay less per month for solar power than what I pay for coal power? Why is that a better question? Because even if you pay cash for solar and just purchase the system, put $10,000 down, own the system, you have no bill for the solar payment. Even if you do that, to evaluate if solar makes sense financially, it's a good idea to compare what solar would cost you per month versus what coal power now costs you per month, because that will give you an idea of how quick you'll actually save money. Because if you spend $200 a month on power, you're going to keep doing that. And in a couple of years, that $200 is going to become $220. A few more years, that $220 will become $250. And it will continue to grow, not because you're changing your habits, but because the prices are increasing. So when evaluating if solar is good for you, you need to ask the question, at what point will I pay less per month for solar than what I now pay for coal power? And depending on how quick you want savings will help you determine whether you should go solar. Now, when you compare monthly payments, at what point is your monthly payment less than solar? It depends on the home. And we can help you estimate this in our one-on-one consultation. Some people save money from day one. In a good situation and a good financing option, they save money on a monthly payment day one. Okay. Some people take 2 years, some people take 3 years, some people take 5 or 6. The worst scenarios I've been in were going to be 5 or 6 years before they'd be saving money each month on their power bill. And so in those cases, if it's 5 or 6 years down the road, you have to evaluate if the other reasons for going solar make enough sense to wait 5 or 6 years for the savings. That's what you have to determine. And in our one-on-one consultations, we can help you calculate that, and then you can talk it over with your spouse or your partner, and you can determine if it's right for you. All right? So if you love the environment like you claim, not saying that you're all big into green energy, but I talk to many people that are. That's why they consider solar. And if you love the environment like you claim, then the question is it not worth $10 more per month to produce clean and sustainable energy that you own, knowing that within a couple of years, worst case scenario, 5 or 6 years, you're saving money on your power bill? To me, that's a no-brainer, but that's something you'll have to evaluate. I'm just asking you to ask the question differently. Instead of asking, when is my payback? Because you wouldn't ask that with any other home improvement. Ask, at what point will I pay less per month for solar power than what I pay for coal power? In other words, when you're deciding if you should go with Spectrum Cable or DirecTV, the determining factor for most people is which one costs me less per month. Okay? And that's how you should compare solar. That's how you need to evaluate it to determine if it's a good choice for your home or business. All right. Now, the excuse of I don't plan on living here long is a terrible excuse, because most people that say that are kidding themselves and they end up living in that home for the rest of their lives. Okay. Now, if you know for sure you've accepted a job offer, you've made an offer on a home, you know for sure that 1 year from now you won't be living in that home, then don't go solar. But if you're just using that as an excuse to not even look into it, to not educate yourself on solar, then quit doing that. All right? Because here's the question you need to ask. What happens if I move? Because you're given a hypothetical. You're using the fear of a hypothetical situation to keep you from even investigating if solar power makes sense for your house. So instead of using that hypothetical fear, ask this question to your solar energy consultant. Say, what happens if I move in the next few years? And then when I do a solar energy consultant, if that question comes up, I can show you, well, if you move in 1 year, here's what you're looking at. If you move in 5 years, here's what you're looking at. If you move in 10 years, here's what you're looking at. And you can evaluate on your own terms if that makes sense for you. So seek to understand how solar works specifically to your home, and then determine, well, what if I do move in 5 years? Is it worth it or not? You decide, but get educated on it first. All right. Keep in mind as you think about this, that solar power is the only home improvement that cannot increase your property taxes. It's the only one that I know of. Leave a comment and send me hate mail if you know of one that's different. But as far as I know, solar power is the only home improvement that won't increase your property taxes. If you redo your kitchen, bathroom, anything like that, you're going to increase your property taxes. Not with solar, that's against Wisconsin law. All right. Solar increases your resale value significantly. So when you go to sell your home, in most cases, you will get so much out of your sell, out of whoever buys your home, because you're giving them free power, prepaid power, then that you'll make up for it. All right. So ask yourself, instead of saying, I can't go solar because I don't think I'll be here very long, or I don't know how long I'll be here. Instead, ask, what happens if I do move? What happens if I have a job change in a year? What happens if I move in 5 years? All right. And then ask yourself, will the person you're selling the house to use power? The answer is absolutely. If they're going to use power, then most of the risk is eliminated, because they're going to love the fact that you're giving them prepaid power. Last excuse and last question that I want to attack tonight is, I'm retired, so I can't afford solar. So many people use this as an excuse to not even look into it. They've just made a prejudgment off of things they've heard, or maybe they actually looked into it 10 years ago, but they're making a prejudgment that they can't afford solar because they're going to be on a fixed income. A better question should be, should a person on a fixed income consider solar? The answer is yes. All of the homeowners on fixed incomes should consider solar, but not all the homeowners on a fixed income should go solar in Wisconsin. Let me restate that. Every homeowner on a fixed income should consider solar, should get a one-on-one consultation from myself or one of my partners, and then determine if it makes sense to go forward. But not every person on a fixed income should go solar. Here's why. Solar is oftentimes a better situation for people on a fixed income, because solar rates do not, I repeat, solar rates do not increase like dirty coal power rates have increased by an average of 4% over the last 20 years. Okay? Each year they've increased by an average of 4% over the last 20 years. Their last price hike in 2014 or 15 raised the rates 15%. It's not far-fetched to think that's going to happen again. All right? So solar power will not change the rate of your solar power. So you can plan better for your future if you're on a fixed income. Can you claim the tax credit? That's the other question a fixed income person needs to ask. There's a tax credit that makes solar affordable. Can you claim it? If you can claim the tax credit, then there's a good chance that solar will make sense on your home. If you cannot claim the tax credit and you're on a fixed income, most likely you shouldn't go solar, financially speaking. If you can afford it and you want to do it for other reasons, then do it. And I'll help you do it. I'd love to help you do it. But if you cannot claim the tax credit, then it might not make sense. All right, so what now? What do you do next? Next, I want to invite you to get a free analysis. You can get a free analysis one of two ways. You can get a free analysis by just sending me a message on Facebook, texting me, calling me, whatever. Just get a hold of me. You can book an appointment with me by going to the Wisconsin Solar Guys Facebook page. And I got to get to my page. Sorry. There we go. Show you how to do this. You can book an appointment with me by going to the Wisconsin Solar Guy Facebook page. All you do is search Wisconsin Solar Guy at the top. Okay, it'll bring you to my page. And then where it says book now, you click on that. Click on book now. Then you choose solar power consultation and put what day and a rough time that you'd like to do this. Saturday morning, click send request. This will notify me. I will respond super quickly and give you a time that works for us to do a consultation. I prefer to do these consultations in home, but if we have to, I can do them online. All right. Again, it's way better to do them in home, but if you're not comfortable with that, or if it's more convenient for us, then we can do them. We can do them online. All right. So sign up for a free analysis. Send me a message or go to Facebook and book your analysis. Or and for doing so, I'm going to get you some free light bulbs. They're not for me. They're through a program that I'll refer you to. And you're going to get $40. It's not just light bulbs. It's an energy savings kit that's going to help you make your house more energy efficient. Super simple way to do it. And it's totally free, no gimmick. You don't even put in a payment. You don't pay shipping. You don't do anything. Sign up for your analysis, and I'll show you how to get those. All right. Then learn the details of how solar works on your home. Do this by doing the one-on-one consultation. Compare the cost of solar to the cost of cold power specific to your home, so you can see which one's actually is more expensive, and then determine if it's right for you. That's all I'm asking you to do. That's the end of this presentation. I'm just asking you to leave me a comment, send me a message, or go to the Wisconsin Solar Guys Facebook page and book an appointment. By booking that appointment, we'll do a one-on-one presentation. It will take preferably 30 minutes, but if you've only got 15, I'll make it work in 15. I'll work with the time you've got. I'll do an analysis specific to your home, and you decide on your own terms and your own time if solar is right for you. Okay? That is it for my presentation today. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was educational. That was the purpose. The purpose was not to twist your arm into buying something that was too expensive. The purpose was not to make you feel uncomfortable. The purpose was just to educate you as to how you should investigate solar, how you should look at it as you evaluate if it makes sense for your home. Because guys, solar is the future. I don't care where you live. Germany has more solar than most places, and they have more cloudy, rainy days than Wisconsin. All right, Wisconsin's New York's one of the top solar states in the country, and they have less sunny days than Wisconsin. So it works here. It may not work on your home, and it is the future. So you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your pocketbook. You owe it to planet Earth. You owe it to your children to at least ask the 5 right questions that I went over into this. And by asking those 5 questions, you need to schedule a one-on-one consultation so we can look at it specific to your home. Again, hope this was helpful. Reach out to me. Let's do a free one-on-one consultation, and have a good night. Thank you for watching that presentation. I hope that was helpful in helping you understand how solar works and determining if it's right for your home. Now, please click the green button below this video and sign up for a free solar analysis. We'll first talk on the phone for 5 minutes to see if your home even might qualify for solar, because most homes don't qualify for solar. So we'll talk on the phone and see if it does. If it does, then I'll do a free solar analysis and go over that with you. I prefer to do this in person. I can go anywhere in Wisconsin, but I invite you to click the button and schedule that. If you're not comfortable doing it in person, we can do it all over the phone or via a web presentation. So please just click the link below and it'll take you to my calendar. You can schedule a solar appointment and an analysis. These actually, used to cost about $400 to get done. I do them for free, and you can decide if solar is right for you after looking at the numbers. So click the button below and schedule your appointment.